What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the other side of the Firewall podcast. Where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? So, welcome to Wednesday's episode. So, Monday and Tuesday are topics. So, if you go back and listen, Monday we talk about the potential LinkedIn breach, which hackers are stealing accounts or locking people out of accounts and charging them money to try to get back in. On Tuesday, we talk about Intel's downfall and AMD's Inception vulnerabilities and how those are impacting billions of their products and customers, right? Because I'm sure there's billions of people who have a processor that's Gen 11 and older. So definitely check that out to hear more about that. And then today is our discussion. So without further ado, I'll give it to Shannon.
All right, everybody. So this one comes from the Financial Times, and it's Mehul Srivastava who wrote this article. And it's titled "Cybersecurity Researchers Become Target of Criminal Hackers." So, like, we knew this day was coming, right? Like, this is not something that should surprise us. So when you start being a cybersecurity researcher and you start publishing articles and you put it out there, hey, this is what I discovered, it's only a matter of time before you become a target, right? Because you're ruining this criminal source of income, and they're not trying to have that. But where this is getting a little scary is that it's turning into real threats. You know what I mean? So it just so happens they got a couple stories in here talking about different things that have happened. So there's one guy who refused to negotiate, right? So what the hackers did, they came to him, said, "Hey, stop doing this." He was like, "Nope, I'm not going to do that." So what ends up happening? They found his son's passport online, his school. His son went to the telephone number for the school, and it was pay up or your family's in danger. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where that's the line where a lot of people are just not willing to cross, right? Is I don't want to put my family's life in danger. Like, I know what I'm doing when I'm out here and I'm reporting these things. I know what I'm doing, and they're out there doing these things so that are just dangerous to people. So they're out there swatting, right? Like, swatting is when someone who was not at a certain residence, they place a call saying that they're in danger, something is going on that causes a SWAT team to respond, and then there's the potential for bad things to happen from there, right? And again, they're not at the residence, right? They're calling up saying something is going on at the residence. SWAT team responds, and you become a target in the house, right? So it's just, they're out there doing dangerous things right now. So one of the stories they have in here is a Ukrainian hacker mailed a gram of heroin to the home of this one journalist, right? So it's one of those things where they're like, okay, we're going to send some drugs there and then call police and let them know that they're there, right? Like, how do you fight that, right? Yeah, or even if you're proven innocent, right? It takes a little bit to get to that point, right? You may lose your job, you may lose your family because they think you're a drug addict or something of that nature. You know what I mean? So they were resorting to some tactics that are just, it's getting very serious for them out there. And this is just, I mean, it's definitely a bridge too far. But again, like, what do you expect from people that are doing nefarious things to make their money, right? So this is just, it's more and more real, right? So, like, especially for these folks that are in Eastern Europe, they got another one in here. He came home and found his house was rifled through, right? Like the stuff you see in movies, where somebody goes and they search the home, like drawers are pulled out, things like that, you know what I mean? So it's becoming a real thing, right? So and he thinks these guys were well trained, right? Because he says they're discreet and extremely professional men. They
Right.
disable.
Because he had the receipts. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, he luckily they had a camera that they had just installed an Anycam, like in a teddy bear or whatever, that caught them skulking through the house, right? Uh, looking very professional. So that terrifying.
but that's where we're at right now, right? So, like, but these researchers, and because it's getting more common to see these things go out too. So, like, it used to be like the stories that we're reporting on, you wouldn't see much of them in the major news organizations, right? Your Fox News's, your CNN's, MSNBC's. You would see them in, like, Wired, you know what I mean, or somewhere like that,
Right.
PC World, things of that nature. But it's becoming more common, right? Because this is the world we live in, right? Everything being online. Everybody's using a computer for something, right? So this is what it is. But like this just seems like a bridge too far for me, man. Like it should not come to where it's physical force or whatever. Like if you want to, and again, going after family, like that's the low blow where I'm like, all right, we need to start getting our government entities involved to say, okay, well, this is a threat at this point, right? This could be a real threat. Like you've shown me, you know, these things about my son, right? You got the passport photo, the school, the telephone number at the school, right? Like there's certain things you just don't play with, and this is one of them, right? So Ryan, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, when I initially saw that, I was like, "Is this Mr. Robot? Like, who thinks of something so diabolical?" Like, so to work our way backwards. So the article where they're moving through the house, like true professionals, like looking for stuff in drawers and things of that nature. That's got to be state sponsored. That guy messed with. He's tip of the spear. He's a researcher who's finding and attributing hacks to state sponsored, you know, entities, and they're like, go get him, go look through his house, go find some stuff, or roll him up and take him. We're not that, so that's good to know. You know, we're reporting the stuff that's already been out there. But yeah, if you're a person who is working for the government or working for one of these research firms, this is scary stuff, because these people weren't always targets. Like I can see if you're you know, Department of Homeland or something like that. Like I know we have people like that who listen to the show, so not specifically talking about you, but like just the people they make movies about. I can see that, right? Like you're a researcher who's well known, or they find out who you are, and then you've associated these hacks or exploits to government entities. Like that's some scary stuff, because you are a target. But now it looks like they're going for people who are just involved in within that sphere, right? The people who are also in the room with that guy or that lady or whomever are also targets. That's terrifying. These people are just doing their job, right? Like on the good side. So for them to also be on the list is kind of scary, because at the end of the day, um, like these people are not just exploiting vulnerabilities and stealing money. Like some of them are also, you know, uh, running guns and selling drugs and things of that nature, or attacking or trying to attack power grids and nuclear facilities, water treatment plants, things of that nature. Like it's getting to the point where it's becoming very movie-like in the cybersecurity realm, where there's these huge kinetic and potentially seriously dangerous things that could happen due to hacks and exploits and things of that nature being done by big entities for either money or political control and things of that nature. Like we see the stuff that's happening in Taiwan and other places by China, or you see the things happening in Ukraine by Russia, or North Korea, everywhere, right? They seem to be attacking everybody and their mom, and Iran and things of that nature as well, right? Like these are very large government entities that are doing these things, and now it seems as though they're because they're being found out, they're on the offensive, and they're doing like things you see only in the movies, right? So very terrifying. And then you talked about the one journalist, whomever, who had the drug shipped to his house. How many checks and balances were broken in that, right? Like, how did he get the drugs all the way to the house? That blew my mind, because I was like, you have so many different entities that are out there to stop that from happening. And then this guy, you like to think of the hacker in the basement with the hoodie on in the dark, was able to actually get this thing all the way to him, which, like you said, it's you're guilty until proven innocent, right? Like he has drugs in the house, so obviously he's either a drug addict or a drug dealer at that point, and now he has to show the receipts and the paper trail. They're like, no, this came from, you know, uh the was it Ukraine, uh
Yeah,
or yeah, or somewhere in that Baltic type area, right?
yeah, it was a Ukrainian hacker that mailed it to him.
Right. So you have to like show a lot of evidence and proof to clear your name. So that's also scary. And then just in general, the swatting thing is very it can be sophisticated, right? So we've seen it where the person making the phone call was actually able to also hack the doorbell or the ring cam and uh, notify the police that, hey, we're inside and he has a gun, right? So that just amps up the response, because like they're not going to be thinking like, oh, this could be potentially a hack, and we need to sort it out first. Like they're going in, guns loaded, ready to defend that family from. I think the one that we did, it was like a year and a half ago or so, where it was so sophisticated that he was like, it's the dad. He has a gun. He's already shot one of the family members. You need to get in here quickly. And they go in and they react. And to which the article said the best thing you could do is to put your hands up and lay on the ground. I mean, people aren't thinking that. Like, if you're sitting at your dinner table and all of a sudden the door is kicked in, you may be going for the weapon,
Yeah.
or at least standing up, right?
And
And
that's the
quick
thing, right?
movement. Yeah,
Yeah, because in the heat of it, like as soon as you hear your door kicked in, you may not hear them
you're not
announcing,
going to dive on the ground and put your hands up,
but you're not hearing them announce themselves as police necessarily either, right? Like the
right?
first thing to my mind is like, okay, where's the gun? I got to go here. I got to go here. Or I got to go here. I got to go here. You know
You
what I
got a
mean?
lot of places.
Okay.
John Wick over here.
I'm not saying that,
It's
right?
in the
Like
cookie jar.
I have children in my house, so my guns are
Right, right. I'm just playing.
possibly stored, but no, but like that's just what you're thinking. It's like Tiana Taylor, well, not Tiana Taylor, Brianna,
Oh yeah, yeah. You're
uh,
right. It's Breonna Taylor. Yep.
Brianna
It
Taylor.
was
Yeah,
it was yeah. They kicked the door in, and
yeah,
I think it was the boyfriend.
yes, and again, so like that's not the first thing that comes to mind. Is hey, just go ahead and lay down, right? Like I'm not going to lay down unless somebody come
Yeah,
in. You know what I mean?
yeah. It was a no knock warrant.
Yep.
Because now you jog my memory. No knock warrant, and they didn't do a very very good job of announcing themselves. So
Mm-hmm.
the reaction was somebody's breaking into our home.
Mm-hmm.
Defend ourselves.
Yeah.
And then it ended in tragedy.
Right. So we can't keep letting this type of stuff happen. Yet we definitely can't let the Breonna Taylor stuff happen, but like we can't make it to where this becomes the more acceptable practice of these hackers to where they start swatting people and
Right.
threats out there. Like this is the part where we need to start taking these people down. And I'm not saying we as in the civilian population, like the governments that have resources, right? Like this is what needs to be taken care of. Like
Right, right. Because
strike fear into them.
yeah,
Go ahead.
because their purpose is the defense of the civilian population, right?
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
you can't allow another nation state or whatever to be able to do these type of things to our citizens. So you're absolutely right. Um, as well as like, so my fear isn't necessarily the having the drug shipped to your house or having someone pop up and rifle through your stuff. Because again, most of us are not within that sphere to have to worry about such big powers coming to aggress on us. But like the swatting thing, that's low hanging fruit. Like people are doing that because they're mad about a Madden game, right? Like not thinking about the implications of what could potentially happen to you. So that stuff does scare me, because then local law enforcement is put into a situation where they are going in ready to defend, and then unfortunately you as in whomever, again, you don't respond accordingly because you don't know who is breaching your home, and then you're hurt, or your family's hurt in some regard. Um, and it's easier to do than most of the other stuff we just talked about. So that is very scary. And it's like, what can we do to mitigate that, aside from putting more pressure on law enforcement, um, who are trying to, in this case, like literally just trying to defend life, limb, property, things of that nature, and get in there. But you as a regular person, you're not going to respond necessarily accordingly, because like the thing to do is to defend, right? Like that's what, and it's inherent. So you put the two of them together, and this person, this entity, is third party, is somewhere not even in the same state, maybe not even the same country, right? So they have no fear of repercussions. So it's pretty scary. So uh yeah, I don't know what to do to fix this, but I just want to put it out there. Like be cognizant, be careful, be watchful if you are a person who is doing the right thing to stop these bad actors on the internet, that they are starting to take the fight to you, which is pretty scary. So it's not to be alertist, but just to put it out there. But definitely continue to check us out throughout the week. Again, Monday, Tuesday are topics, Wednesday discussion, then Friday's everything else. So definitely stay tuned for that. stay safe, stay secure.